Spence.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I'd like to thank the member for Barker for placing a motion on the notice paper on the Black Spot program. When all is said and done, we should all care about road infrastructure, keeping our roads safe and lowering the number of fatalities and injuries that occur on roads across Australia every year. That is evident by all the contributions here in this place today, and condolences to those mourning their loss in the member for Riverina and Indi's electorates, respectively. According to the Bureau of Infrastructure, Transport and Regional Economics, black spot projects reduce the number of crashes causing death and injury by roughly 30%. There is a good quote within the National Road Safety Strategy, which I'm heavily paraphrasing, that calls on eliminating the fatalistic mindset whereby deaths and injuries on our roads are just an inevitable part of road use. We can't allow for that. The Black Spot program itself was born during the times of the Hawke government, though it was put on ice during the Keating government. As the member for Barker pointed out, it has been continuously in place since 1996, when it was reintroduced under the Howard government. Being a member from South Australia too, I am aware of a number of other titles and positions the member has held from time to time. However, a title that the member for Barker once held was that of Chair of the South Australian Black Spot Consultative Panel, a position that he held under the previous government from 2016, if I am not mistaken. The Black Spot Consultative Panel system extends to all states and territories in Australia, and on its face value appears to be a fundamentally sound system to have in place in order to best identify the areas that most need funding through the program. During the course of this debate, we have heard from 3 panel chairs of their respective states and territories, being the member for Solomon, the member for Lyons and the member for Bendigo. They are also joined by their fellow panel chairs from this side of the chamber, the members for Gilmore, Blair, Fremantle, Canberra, and from my home state, the member for Macon. These panels are constituted similarly but have a few distinctions given the local variance of infrastructure, motorist and road safety groups across the country. On the South Australian panel, the member for Macon sits on there with delegates from the Local Government Association of South Australia, the RAA, the South Australian Road Transport Association, SA Police, the SA Freight Council, the Traffic Management Association of Australia, the Department of Infrastructure and Transport, and a representative for South Australia's Minister for Road Safety, Joe Sockarch. In fact, less than 2 months ago, I was delighted to be joined by the panel chair, the member for Macon, when the Assistant Minister for Infrastructure was in Adelaide to announce 17 projects that were receiving funding under the Black Spot program in 23-24. We were also joined by Tom Koutsantonis, the South Australian Minister for Infrastructure and Transport, Tony Piccolo, the State Member for Light, the Mayors Glenn Docherty and Karen Redman of the City of Playford and Town of Gawler, respectively. We all converged upon the not all too quiet intersection between Dalkeith and Stevenheath roads out in Cudler, located in my electorate of Spence. This was to announce that the Black Spot program would be funding the installation of a roundabout at this location to the tune of almost $2 million from a total of $5.9 million across 17 announced successful projects. This project is one of concern to many local residents who travel down that intersection every day, but I wouldn't be a good local member if I didn't say that this is a drop in the ocean for the road funding that would fix many of the issues faced by motorists in the north of Adelaide. I'll even go so far as to be collegiate along with the member for Barker and, for that matter, the member for Grey also. This is especially important given that many road users will traverse through their electorates to get to mine or travel further onwards into metropolitan Adelaide and vice versa. A good example that comes to mind would be that of the heavy vehicle operator, many of whom I represented as a Transport Workers Union official before my time in Parliament. However, this unity ticket wavers a bit when I see the member for Barker speaking of the need to change the rules to make the process of applying easier, yet thought better of doing so in the many long years he was at the coalface as the chair of South Australia's Black Spot panel. For a member so loud on to both praise and criticise, he was eerily silent about this. He was keeping it a secret. I wonder why. The member for Barker left the chamber earlier. And one thing that was pointed out to me early on when I was elected to this place last year by the member for Riverina was when it's that big of a matter to you, you usually stay in the chamber as a matter of courtesy to hear the entire debate.